Hello everyone, welcome to our next lesson, and today we are going to cover three very big topics: the passive, have or get something done, and reported speech. That's why get ready and let's go. Our first topic is the passive or passive voice. We use passive voice when the agent of the action is unknown, not important or obvious from the context. Sometimes we use the passive when the action itself is more important than the agent, or when we want to be more polite. The general form for the passive is the verb to be that can be changed according to the tense, and the verb 3 or past participle of the verb. The passive forms are present simple, am is are, verb 3. Present continuous, am is are being, verb 3. Past simple, was were, verb 3. Past continuous, was were being, verb 3. Present perfect simple, have has been, verb 3. Past perfect simple, had been, verb 3. Future simple, will be, verb 3. Future perfect simple, will have been, verb 3. Present infinitive, to be, verb 3. ing form, being, verb 3. Modals, modal verb plus be plus verb 3. Now let's see how we change a sentence from active into passive. There are three main rules. First of all, the object of the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. The active verb remains the same in the tense but changes its form into passive, and the subject of the active sentence becomes the agent of the passive sentence and is introduced by the preposition by or omitted. Let's have a look at the example. Compare these two sentences. Sharon wrote a report, which is an active sentence, and a report was written by Sharon, which is a passive sentence. In the active sentence, we have a subject, Sharon, verb, wrote, in past simple tense, and the object is a report. What do? We take the object, a report, and make it a subject of the passive sentence. We start the sentence with this word. The verb tense remains the same, past simple, but changes its voice from active into passive, was written. And in this case, we have an agent, Sharon, which we introduce by the preposition by. A report was written by Sharon. We use preposition by to introduce an agent of the action and preposition with to introduce an instrument. As I told you before in the classroom, we could compare two sentences. The bodyguard was hit by a brick, or the bodyguard was hit with a brick. Two different situations, two different prepositions. In first one, by a brick, it was an accident. With a brick, deliberate action. With verbs that can take two objects, such as bring, tell, show, explain, read, give, and so on, there are two different passive sentences possible. However, it's more common to start the sentence with the person. Please study these examples. Jessica showed Rod some photos. It's an active sentence. We can form two different passive sentences. Rod was shown some photos by Jessica, or some photos were shown to Rod by Jessica. The first sentence, where we start with the person, is more usual. And the final thing, when we want to ask a question and find out who the agent of the action was, we use the following question: who or what, then the rest of the sentence, and we finish it with by. For example, who was the camera invented by? What was the explosion caused by? Please keep it in mind. Don't forget to use it in the end of the question. That's everything that you have to know about the passive, but I would like to remind you that you must study your irregular verbs. Our next topic is to have or get something done. We use this structure have get plus object plus past participle or verb 3 to say that someone does something for us. Please study the following examples. We can use the verb get instead of the verb have, but only in informal conversation. And now let's have a look at the reported speech. Reported speech is the exact meaning of what someone said, but not the exact words. We do not use quotation marks in reported speech. We can introduce a reported sentence by using the following verbs: said or told. Told is always followed by a personal object. For example, told me. Said is used with or without a personal object. When used with a personal object, it is always followed by the preposition to. Said to me. Or just said that. In reported speech, personal pronouns, possessive adjectives, and possessive pronouns change according to the meaning of the sentence. For example, Sam said, "I'm leaving for Germany with my family tomorrow." Sam said that he was leaving for Germany with his family the following day. We usually report someone's words long after they were said. In this case, the introductory verb stays in the past simple tense, and the other tenses of the sentence change as follows. Certain words and time expressions also change according to the meaning of the sentence. Please study the examples. Certain modal verbs change in the reported speech as follows. Will or shall becomes would, may becomes might, can becomes could, must stays must or becomes had to, shall becomes should. Such forms as could, should, would, might don't change and remain the same. Okay, those were the rules for reported statements. Now let's have a look at reported questions. Reported questions are usually introduced by the verbs asked, inquired, wondered, or wanted to know. We have two types of questions: WH questions and general or if no questions. When the direct question starts with a question word, for example, what, when, where, how much, how many, the reported question will start with the same question word. When a direct question starts with an auxiliary, if it's a yes-no question, then to introduce it into reported speech, we use if or whether. Same meaning, it's up to you, whichever you want to use. In reported questions, we don't use inversion. It means the word order must be as in a normal affirmative statement, but don't forget to change tenses and time expressions as in the reported statements. And the last thing, to report commands or instructions, we use the words ordered or told somebody to do something if the command is positive, or not to do something if the command is negative. For example, put the gun down, he said to him. He ordered him to put the gun down. Don't look down, he said to us. He told us not to look down. That's it. Very simple. That's all the grammar that we studied with you in units 5, 6 and 7. And of course, besides grammar, you're responsible for your vocabulary. Don't forget to study it. And if you have any questions or are confused about something, please feel free to text me, call me, or mail me, maybe anytime. Hope to see you soon. Take care.